What's up, guys? So, now that you've seen my face, you know what I look like. Kind of creepy here in the dark, sitting in front of my house, waiting for the car to warm up. But for those of you, actually the only ones who are really going to know are the members of the forums and the Facebook group. But for those that don't know, back in October, the police had impounded my vehicle, kind of incorrectly. There's a whole legal thing going on with that right now, so I'm not at liberty to discuss the details. But when they impounded my vehicle, they loaded the vehicle up on the tow truck and decided to leave my driver's window down. Now, I live here in New York on Long Island, and if you recall, between October 9th and October 15th or 16th, somewhere around there, we had not one, but two tropical storms. One of them was the remnants of Hurricane Harvey. And I get my vehicle back. I'll post a quick clip momentarily. But I get my vehicle back. Not only did they leave the window down the entire time while they had the keys, but they also kind of, I don't know, backed my car into another car, broke it on the tow truck, I don't know, but they smashed up the back end too, broke the taillight, broke the valence, and kind of tweaked everything a little bit. So, went through insurance. My driver's seat wasn't working. Every time I got in the car, it would shut down. It would constantly go into park by itself. The interior was pretty flooded. There'll be a quick clip of that below as well. And all in all, the car that I try to keep absolutely pristine as much as possible was more or less destroyed. They had scratched the exterior looking for fingerprints. They had, being as the impound yard is in West Hampton, it's surrounded by woods, and I get my car back and raccoons were living in it. Yeah, there were 3 raccoons when I picked up the car. I opened the trunk and they all ran out. So there were muddy raccoon prints all over everything, and yeah, it smelled like wet dog and mildew, but nothing a detail wasn't able to handle. I pulled the seats, I removed the carpets and everything like that, and got everything cleaned up. But the point to this story is, I finally got insurance to pay out for the new driver's seat and a couple of other things like the broken taillights and a few other odds and ends here and there. And called up Tesla. I had this driver's seat replaced in August due to the hinge right here. The inside hinge broke and the whole seat assembly was sitting cockeyed. So they replaced this seat in August. I ordered the seat in May or June, and it took them until August to get the seat. Now, however, I go in and I bring the part number, and I can't even get a new seat anymore. They do not offer them, and they have no intention of making a single seat. So, I'm kind of stuck in a spot here where insurance paid out for me to fix my vehicle. I've already replaced the seat with a used seat off of the forums. No big deal, everything works. I was able to have it reprogrammed kind of on the down low, which leads me to the next point. If Tesla is going to stop offering certain parts, which every manufacturer eventually stops offering replacement parts. That's you can't expect Ford to offer factory parts from a 1920 Model A. That's fine. However, this is a 2013. We are now in 2018. This was a very early build. This is a February 2013 build. So in February, this car will be 5 years old. And I already can't get parts for this vehicle. I can't get the seat. I can't get a couple of modules for it. They just don't make them. And anybody who's dealt with Tesla knows that getting parts is a little bit of a pain. It happens. Not a big deal. They're an up-and-coming company. They should really focus more on after-sales support, but that's neither here nor there. The issue that I'm having is I can buy anybody can go in and buy most parts for the vehicle other than high voltage and structural components. You need a tie rod end, you need control arms, which is I bring that up because I've already ordered those. Steering column, seats, tail lights, door glass, all kinds of stuff. You can buy it, no problem. However, if they don't offer it, you're stuck having to find different avenues to go about getting this stuff. Forums are great. Junkyards, any Tesla specific dismantlers, all kinds of stuff you can get. But Tesla has a policy that if they don't install the parts, they will not do any of the programming. Now, Tesla is not going to install used parts as well. That is another one of their policies. If it's not a brand new part, they want nothing to do with it. Perfectly fine and understandable. Again, it's a liability. They put in, I go to the junkyard, I buy a seat, it's got a faulty airbag module, I get T-bone, and that airbag doesn't go off. Tesla's on the line because they were the ones who installed it and programmed it. But if they don't offer a seat that I can buy from them brand new, I can't get the seat from them, I can't have them install it, I can't have them program it. So now I'm stuck with a seat that doesn't work. So I buy a used seat. All fine and dandy. I'll just program it myself. The OBD ports in these cars are useless. They handle a couple of basic functions. You can see some things going on with like the ABS and like steering angle and whatnot. Just basic functions that every car goes through the OBD port for. And I believe you can access the body control module as well. I haven't really dug too far into it, but that'll be another time. All of the programming on this car is done through a high-speed data connector in the left side of the dash. It's a round 4-pin Ethernet connection. You can buy the connector anywhere. It's an Ethernet to, I forget the name of it, it's a weird name, but it's Ethernet to the 4-pin round connector. You can plug that in and you plug it into your laptop and you can do nothing. The diagnostic ports on these cars are locked. You need a token to access them. Now, say you need to buy a used seat and you need to have it programmed to make sure all the modules are the same and to make sure your airbags and everything are working properly, because if there's a different firmware or a different VIN in the module, you're going to have an airbag light, and the seat sensor might not be calibrated properly, and there's all kinds of other stuff going on. These seats are very, very intelligent. It's not like swapping out a seat in a 1995 Cavalier, where you just take one seat out, disconnect the seat belt light, and then put in the new seat, reconnect it, and drive away. Everything's fine and dandy. Now, with this car, all of this, actually pretty much every new car, everything needs to be programmed. Everything. Doesn't matter what it is, it's got to be programmed. You put in a window regulator in a new driver's door module, it's got to be programmed. You get some of these cars, you put in a new headlight. The headlight's got to be reprogrammed. Now, Tesla does not allow end user reprogramming. Any other car out there, I can go into my shop right now and I could pick up a Snap-on Zeus or a Modus or something like that, and I can log in. As long as I've paid them their obscene amount of money, I can go in and reprogram most things on most cars. If not, certain things require factory software. Ford has their MDI. Chevy has their GM has their Tech 2 and Candy modules. You can go into these dealerships and buy this stuff. Again, they're an obscene amount of money. A Tech 2 and a Candy module with all the supporting programming is going to cost you right around $8,000 or $9,000 for just the units. Ford, with their software and the laptop and the MDI modules and everything like that, that's going to cost you close to 10 grand. But you can buy it. Tesla, you can't, they don't even look at you. Yeah, I would like to buy a subscription to Toolbox. Sorry, no. They'll take $3,000 a year for you to look at the service manuals for these cars. But when it comes to basic stuff, coolant flushes, reprogramming a driver's seat, reprogramming a headlight on the newer cars because it's all CAN communication on those, yeah, you're screwed. You can't do anything about it. Now, rumor has it that Toolbox will be released to certain shops and maybe the general public for a subscription, which is perfectly fine. If you have a laptop and the cables and everything like that, I don't think Tesla should give that out for free. Absolutely not. No manufacturer should give that out for free. That is their proprietary software that should absolutely come with a premium. But the fact that Tesla doesn't offer it at all leads to problems when you can't buy stuff from them anymore. Like a driver's seat. For a classic Model S with the original interior, they don't make that anymore. They have no problem selling me the next-gen seats for a $6,000 retrofit. Sorry, I don't want that. I just want a driver's seat. I'm not a big fan of the next-gen seats. I'm a larger guy, and next-gen seats are really, really tight. And this, yeah, it's a performance car, but you throw this thing through turns, it feels like you're driving a well-tuned battleship, not a sports car. Even the P85 Plus that's sitting behind me, it's not a sports car. It's way too heavy. But I digress on that. So, because of this whole issue that I'm having with my seat, I can't buy a new seat through Tesla. And I was able to buy a used seat, and I was able to get an under-the-table reprogramming by somebody not affiliated with Tesla, but they were able to do it for me. They are way more versed in this kind of stuff than I am. I'm good with the mechanical side of things, but hacking into a very high-tech cell phone on wheels, not so much. I think at this point in time, now that the Model 3 is starting to roll out, Tesla's going to have to make some changes. They're going to have to authorize independent repair shops. They're going to have to allow end-user programming and parts and everything like that. It's all got to be available to the end user. Right now on Long Island, we have one service center. That one service center is overloaded as is. I could call in right now, January 9th, and make an appointment to have, I don't know, my 50K service done. And I'll be lucky to get in sometime in February. That's right now. And there's no Model 3s around here. Actually, there's one. I don't really see how Tesla is going to be able to handle 500,000 cars on the road, 1 million cars on the road, 10 million cars on the road, with their current, not even the current infrastructure, with their current mindset, where anybody outside of Tesla is not allowed to do anything. That's not going to fly. That's also illegal. It goes against consumer protection laws, where if I want to work on my own car, I'm more than legally allowed to. I don't like being threatened with warranty revocation because I did my own drive unit fluid service, or I did my own tire rotation, or I pulled my calipers off and cleaned them up and redid them because there's oversights when these cars are assembled. But don't threaten me to don't threaten to revoke my warranty because I'm working on my own vehicle. I'm sorry. I and many other people are more than capable of working on mechanical aspects of these cars. They're no different. The underpinnings of these cars are the same as the couple of the Mercedes that I have. The front suspension kind of looks like an S-Class. The rear suspension kind of looks like a CLS. The steering column is direct from a Mercedes. This is the exact same steering column I have in the R350 sitting in the driveway. All of these things are very simple and very standardized across the industry, and I really think, I'm hoping that Tesla's starting to come around. I do think they are. I know they had to keep everything very tight because the last thing they need is a new company, very fragile, very unstable, is for a guy to be putting in his own battery, short circuit the thing, blow himself to Mars, even though Elon Musk might enjoy getting some feedback on it. But the PR that would surround something like that, guy kills himself and burns his house down trying to work on his own Tesla, it's not a good headline. And we all know that Fox News and all the tabloids and Car and Driver, especially Jalopnik would love to get their hands on a story like that. We know that can't happen, and I understand it, but now we're getting to the point the company's starting to mature. It's only a matter of time until you've got people. Model S and Model X owners are a little different, I think. But the Model 3 owners, the general population that they're aiming for, there's going to be a large percentage of those people who want to work on their own vehicle, and they're not going to take too kindly to being told no. And the last thing Tesla needs is a class action lawsuit that makes its way into the Supreme Court, where people want to work on their own cars and Tesla tells them no, and now there's a legal mandate that says, listen, you've got to let these people work on their cars. You have to give them the documentation. You have to give them the tools necessary to do it. You have to supply all the parts. I mean, it's already a legal requirement that they have to do that, but they found some backdoor loopholes that eventually will close. So, in short, really all I want for everybody else is, if you get into a situation where you have no choice but to do something outside of Tesla, Tesla's got to be able to support that. If I could go in and buy a new seat from them, no problem. I can't. They told me flat out. They searched all of the service centers all over the world. They can't get a classic gray leather first generation premium seat. They can get me a next gen seat, and I'm not going to have a next gen seat and a regular seat. That's just going to look ridiculous. And they won't touch something used, something aftermarket. They won't touch it. And I understand it, but you've got to give people in these situations, you have to give them the ability to do it themselves at that point. So, Tesla, I know you don't care about some guy making YouTube videos, but please let us work on our own cars. That's all we want. Even when it comes to doing stuff like this, it's standard practice. I work on my own car and I break it, that's my problem. I don't see any judge anywhere, if I put a seat in and I program it wrong and the airbag doesn't go off, I don't see a judge, if I decided to sue Tesla for that, I don't see a judge upholding that. I really don't. I know the whole legal battle and everything is ridiculous, but when it comes down to it, all you have to do is, I I didn't program it. He programmed it on its own, on his own. We have you have the logs. It's stored on an SD card right behind the screen. So all you would have to do is pull those logs that you do for everything else and say, hey, we didn't do it, he did it, we're not liable. And that's the end of it. I'd be perfectly okay signing a waiver, and I think it should be done for if you allow Toolbox to be downloaded. One of the stipulations is you have to pay, first and foremost, and you have to sign a waiver that says anything that goes wrong during the programming outside of Tesla's control is not their problem. I'd be okay with that. I'm sure everybody else out there who wants to work on their own cars would be okay with that. So, please, just let us work on our own cars. Please, 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 let us work on our own cars. It would be great. Please. I don't know if I've said please, but please. That would be fantastic. Yeah. Please. Thank you.